Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series with Holger on music. Today we'll be discussing the new music. Welcome, Holger.
Yes, hello.
So much to say about the new music, so much to feel about the new music, and to know about it. When I began listening to Wozzeck, and that's no longer the new music.
No.
But it was for me then in the 60s,
Yes. And then it was not new.
and then it was not new. Yeah. So,
How is that for you? Why do you think, did you experience this in the 60s as new? What is new? Subjectively speaking.
I was absorbed in the Romantic age.
Hmm.
Lieder, art song, from all different nations. But it was certainly the Romantic age that I was most involved with. I did have a series of rehearsals with Louise Talma, who was the counterpoint teacher in Hunter College. And she wrote an opera with the libretto by Thornton Wilder called the Alcestiad. And I had to do the bass part for an interview, and it was all written in the 12-tone series. Very difficult for me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So that means, if I understand you right, in this case, the experience of new has to do with your skill level on singing and inner hearing.
I would agree.
But
And ability to reproduce the notes properly.
yes, exactly. Then
Yeah.
you don't have that skill set, then you cannot do it.
Right.
It's like you take now a tennis racket, go out on court. Well, you don't hit the ball if you don't have that skill. So this is that. Actually, in this case, this new sports, to do the 12-tone music, you cannot do. For you, it's new. But from the content the music speaks about, I would hold, for example, that Wozzeck is not new at all. Not even at the time when he was composing it. His devices to do it, 12-tone music, that was new. But if you think what he speaks, particularly Alban Berg, what he speaks about, it's all very romantic. The same opera could have been, or you take Salome, for example, very romantic. There is no new thinking in it. There are no new assemblings of emotions. There are no new values. It's all, I would say, I don't know, it's maybe hopefully not arrogant, but it seemed to me, always, Alban Berg seemed to me always very romantic. Just he does that, but I grew up listening to Salome and stuff where the near 12-tone music of Strauss there is like everything is so broad. You can sing and play any note in this 12-tone field. That was slightly before 12-tone music came up. Everything was so wide that the 12-tone music came to the rescue and says, yeah, but we need some rules.
Well, for me, Rosenkavalier, the final trio, is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in opera. And Strauss says, when I die, I would like that to be sung at my funeral. That's the only thing that I feel would be worthy to.
And you liked it, I accept that, but two things. First, I listened to Salome, which is, I think, 1905,
Yeah.
and Rosenkavalier is probably 42 or something like that, no? So he is unique, a little bit unique into that way that as a composer, he continuously regressed all his life. Which, from a point of view of writing new stuff, is a deterioration. If you think of new, then I would hold that neither Salome is new, because it's also a romantic material, nor is, for sure, the Rosenkavalier. And whether he likes that or not is good or bad for him, but not our discussion, I would say, about new.
No.
Otherwise, new is very easy. It's anybody doesn't know something, then he sees it, so it's new.
Yes.
You know, it's that story of my daughter who found the C major triad all by herself and loved it. So it's new to her. But I wonder, when Mother told you that you're supposed to find some new music,
To bring it down, she said.
even okay,
Whoa.
even a taller order, as
Yes.
is, it's already there. Now you have to experience it from inside. Tough stuff. Now, if you sit there and play that C major chord on a grand piano which is well tuned, it is always new. Actually, if you are open, it is new. But you cannot sell it in any way, not as new and as old. It's just a C major chord. But what is your experience? What is this experience of my 10-year-old daughter that finds it?
Yeah.
Is truly new.
I have found newness in every chord, in
Yes.
every key,
Yes, of course.
always.
Yes.
And difference also. Great difference. B major is not C major.
Oh, yeah, surely. So, when Sri Aurobindo even dedicates, can we say, most of his writings to this very idea of a new creation, I feel he is always centering about that progress. And leans away from, in his explanations, leans away from something he sufficiently experienced, is that there is nothing new. It's already everything there. Say that would be most obviously shown by Ramana Maharshi. You know, it's like, what new? How do you mean new? I cannot even die. So, in this way, I would like to understand better what you think, which new did Mother speak of?
At first, I began with a few people, trying to bring it down. What does mean, bring it down? What does that mean? It means to go into a sphere of experience where you brought something down from the highest realms into the earth vibration, into the earthly sphere. For 30 years I did it, and then for the next 20 years I realized it was not going to be me who could bring something down, but a collective soul. And that's how the Om Choir began. So first of all, the word came to me, sing only Om, because it is the most powerful of all the sounds in the universe. And Mother said, it is the voice of the Lord. And even the symbol, she said, is the handwriting of the Lord. Mm-hmm. Wow, this meant so much to me. Yeah. And so in the Om Choir, There are no rules. There are guidelines, such as keep the ego outside the door, keep the mind outside the door, keep shyness and hesitation outside the door, but open and let that divine presence flow through you as not individually, but a collective body.
But still through you, at the same time.
At the same time.
That is a very
at the same
important.
time.
Exactly. So this, say what you formulated now, maybe let's call that a concept. Yeah, it's also an experience, I know, but as we speak about it, it's a concept. This is worth a 20th century and 21st century endeavor of mankind. That is why jazz turned to free jazz. And where there was, like in the 60s, I think, or 70s, this, have you heard Sun Ra Orchestra?
No.
Yes, some 15 musicians, and they do that, what you described here with the Om Choir. They did that. Let's play. But 15 people, not 2 people. That's quite easy. I had this experience early on in when I was just finished with my studies at the Mozarteum. I founded a string quartet with another violinist who was a native jazz player. And we improvised completely free, and we placed some image in front of us, and then we started playing. And we did that on a regular basis, twice a week, for an hour, playing completely free and reacting on each other. Great exercise. And we loved it, and we had a friend who was doing similar things with projections of photos, with sandwich photos and so on. And we did this live. He made a visual show, and we played, and that was working quite fine. As he made his images, we played different and vice versa. Worked fine. We said, but it should be. I always had the drive to create a string quartet. And I said, okay, fine, but we could have the low frequencies also, we need that. So there was the drive to have a cellist. And we found one who was also experienced in jazz. And that was much more difficult suddenly. Because the flexibility, the fluidity that you require for this very responsive bringing down, the more members, the more variables, the more difficult that gets. And once we had the viola player, it was very difficult.
Different sonorities, different tonation.
And different individuals reacting on what is there. So if we would think of a symphony orchestra where nobody has a score, but everyone is completely open to what he hears and where the music is floating to, yet to be done, not existing. Partly by lack of openness and high skill level at the same time of musicians. You gotta be extremely open to do that. And you have to be able to not play a lot. And then know exactly when you have to be coming in the foreground, maybe. Not hesitating then. Oh my God. Well, I would love to do that, but haven't come around to it. I had that improvising string quartet in my professional career, but then I went to Auroville, basically thinking that Auroville is that. It is a group of people who want to be as permanent as possible in this openness to see what is the right thing to do right now. And I'm a little bit proud even to have been member of such a group for so long that were trying to do exactly what you described with the Om Choir, with the new music, with getting this vibration down. When two people do that, say a loving couple, it's difficult. When a whole family with children is doing it, it's more difficult. When it's a village of 200 people is doing, it gets very difficult, and if it's 2,000 or 3,000 people supposed to do that, it is yet not possible. The result will be a more gray, in terms of painting, all the colors would give us a gray-brown soup of indifferent things. In music, we would have all notes at the same time, all rhythms at the same time, all these things. I would hold, in other words, reality. Go out in the traffic and you have a total mess of all kinds of sounds. And yet there is this poem of Sri Aurobindo, Divine Hearing, which we both love so much.
Yes.
Because there you see, the reluctant drone of the machine, and these are not disturbances.
No.
These are all parts of this thing that is a living organism, increasingly self-conscious or increasingly conscious of a divine. This is, I believe, why I came to Auroville and why I'm still there.
Very often I tell my groups, listen to the refrigerator. Listen to the fan.
It's already oming away.
It's oming, yes. And you can hear the om in it.
Yes. And the frogs in Monsoon, the frog concert, they are also part of the Om choir. I totally like that. Totally.
Good.
So if somebody comes in this orchestra that tries, of say a few thousand people, that tries to, listen into this, listen into that, see the multitude, be shocked about the neighbor who does something aggressive, and then let's go of it and go other, and so on. If somebody says, but this is not working out, we need a score. We have a good composer. Yeah, she's called Mother. Here's the score. Play it. The whole project collapses. Because it's not about play. It's a nice thing to play a Beethoven symphony. I don't mind. It's wonderful. And certainly it's better than anything I could personally come up with. But it's not that experiment of an Om choir. You cannot put a score to... I could compose one for you, but it's pointless.
Yes, exactly. And people come to the Om choir simply to pray also, while others are singing.
Also.
Yes, also.
So we have to, when I speak about in myself, I don't speak outside about that, but when I speak about new, I speak about this new. Not a fantastic new chord or new rhythm or new instrumentation. That's pretty much all not new. New is that spirit of openness and reactivity and subjectivity, therefore.
Very much so. I ask all of my Om choir members to become instruments so the divine presence can sing through them.
Right.
Whatever notes he wishes.
Yes. Which every musician should be, whether he plays Beethoven or not, or something modern or not. It's that what is required from you in the highest art. Rarely reached, though.
Rarely reached.
Most of the time we are busy, how do I get that 12-tone line right? Yeah. That's difficult enough.
Or the rhythms.
Or the rhythms or so,
I had the most trouble with that.
Yeah.
In the 12-tone system. Yeah. And very interesting, Dr. Talma had it performed in Germany, the Alcestiad. And she brought back a recording and invited all of us who were, Robert White was the tenor, and he's still singing and teaching today. I just saw him on YouTube. And the interesting thing was none of the singers got it except the bass, which was my part, which I couldn't get. But you understood when he had it, he caught it. He caught that feeling that she was trying to convey.
Yes.
But I also felt it was very mechanical in a way, 12-tone system. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yes, you're wrong. We can say now, 100 years later.
Ah,
When we listen to younger players, recently I heard a young quartet playing the Bagatelles of von Webern. And then all the mechanical is gone. It's all sounding like experience of the moment. This one, that one, and so on, very quickly changing. So this divine hearing experience that you can have and should have when you drive through Pondi, there is this multitude, and there is this multitude. There is all. And all is also one, because why is it one? Because it's one thing. I hear one sound. That is one thing. And to have that experience goes, I think, in the direction that Sri Aurobindo brought in this poem so extremely nice.
my friend and my teacher.
And you can have that with the Bagatelles.
Ah,
You can have that now, but it takes long because it's so difficult to perform. Suppose you record what happens in Pondi, any place, 5 minutes, then have experts writing a score, and then have trained musicians to play that it sounds as natural and chaotic as Pondi sounds. You need to practice a lot. The honk exactly that loud as in the score, exactly at that moment. What difficult rhythms, and then suddenly comes a bird, and then this, and then the market, and it's very difficult.
my friend and teacher, Aurobindo Basu, gave a talk one day about this. And he said, I listen to the muezzin singing in the morning. I go into an Orthodox church and I hear the music of that church, and that presence is always there.
Yes. And when you are the executing composer or performer, there are so many technicalities that you lose that very easily. And that's the case whether it's a Beethoven concerto or whether it's 12-tone music. There's no difference. So the mastership, the mastership of the performing artist in music requires a very, very, very high skill level to reach that point where you just play that.
Even if there is ego?
Yes, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
Yes. And as inclination must be also there. So Sviatoslav Richter, our both for us so beloved one, he couldn't play Mozart very well. He knew it. He didn't make he says it's weird. When take a simple line of Mozart, take a simple line, and it goes like, and he sings something. And that line is of Bach, or this line is of Beethoven, and it's clear. And then it's from Mozart, and somehow I cannot play it. I don't know why.
Interesting, huh?
And it certainly, I mean, he doesn't make mistakes. He plays a Beethoven concerto and it's perfect. But compared to some other players, it's not as drenched in this self-explanatory spirit of Mozart. And when you compare his Schubert or you compare his Bach, then Mozart is not that good. It's of course great, but not that good. So I understand him, and he knows it, and it's not a problem. So the personal inclination, if somebody even looks away from himself, like Richter does so much, up to I don't like myself, this looking at the material he is working. Even then, a personality is very important. And the personality of Mozart and the personality of Sviatoslav Richter do not gel very much.
No. Very true.
And it doesn't matter, there are so many others.
Yeah. Yeah. In the next series, I would like to continue on the new music. What is the new music? Yes.
Okay.
Namaste all.